Op 0829904904 ons WhatsApp lyn hier op Smile FM. Joining us to unpack the link between heritage and tourism and how it in fact impacts land reform is the Chief Executive at the Vumelana Advisory Fund, Peter Setou. Mr. Setou, good evening and thank you so much for your time.
Good evening and good evening to your listeners.
On International Tourism Day today, the 27th of September, is there a link between land reform, tourism and conservation?
Yes, indeed. There is a big link within conservation and land reform, land restitution as it were. But I think it is important to give some historical context to the two issues because there's always been contestations and challenges with conservation on restituted land.
Yes.
As we all know, the issue of land in South Africa is a very, very emotive issue. And conservation areas in particular, you have a situation where communities who were staying in these land parcels were forcibly removed from these areas due to discriminatory practices of the past.
Yeah.
This has actually led to a situation where both, where in particular, communities historically opposed conservation, which was used to forcibly remove them. So our view is the only way to get communities to embrace land parcels that belong to them in the past is to enable them the economic benefits from their ancestral land whilst maintaining the integrity of the land and the value of the heritage site. So yes, conservation and restitution or land reform can coexist. The reality is that both these two are equally important. I mean, conservation of restituted land and the need to develop land for the community's benefit should not be mutually exclusive, but rather should complement each other.
And how key are partnerships in this regard, Peter, in linking the community together to the conservation strategies as well as to some economic opportunities that may arise?
Yeah. The reality is that when the communities lost these land parcels in the past, they not only lost this land, they lost quite a lot of things, including, relationships and the ability to work the land. We have a situation where some of these land parcels have been restituted to the communities. And the reality is government does not always have the requisite, resources to actually support the communities. So in this specific instance, because government cannot always support the communities to use their land productively, creating partnerships between beneficiaries of land reform, the communities, and the private investors is really an immediate way of ensuring productive use of land through the private sector bringing investment capital and the community offering the land for development. And as Vumelana, over the last 10 years of our existence, we've supported a number of community projects, 25 to be exact, which would attract in excess of 1 billion rand in investment and putting into productive use in excess of 72,000 hectares of land and benefiting more than 16,000 households. So we've been on this road before. In addition, there are a number of further projects that we are currently supporting, which once concluded could attract a further 1 billion rand in investment and create further jobs.
Peter Setou was Chief Executive at the Vumelana Advisory Fund, joining us in conversation this evening on The Honest Truth. You're welcome to do the same and direct any questions to Peter on 0829904904. So the role then of the Vumelana Fund becomes quite clear in bringing these partners together in benefits of the community, how the restituted land can be leveraged in terms of economic opportunities. You mentioned that you've been walking hand in hand with quite a few communities since the fund launched. Are you able to give us an example of what has transpired and the impact on the ground?
Well, there are a number of examples that one could cite where the communities are really benefiting in this manner as living examples and proof that communities, or rather conservation, can actually coexist with development and benefit for the communities. One of the communities that we've supported is the Khomani Communal Property Association. You know, they own over 25,000 of land within the Kalahari Transfrontier Park. It was settled in 1999. The community.
Oh, Peter, we're losing connection with you. Are you able just to move around generally? That helps in re-establishing connection. Are you still?
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's a little faint. Let's see how we go. Yes, Peter, continue. Peter, you still there?
No.
Yes. We finally re-established you, Peter. Peter Setou, Chief Executive at the Vumelana Advisory Fund. Can you hear me clearly, Peter? We're not getting much luck with this connection. I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there for this evening. Such a pity. Peter Setou, Chief Executive at the Vumelana Advisory Fund. But we'll create another chance for us to revisit this conversation. Certainly quite important in looking at how land restitution, tourism, conservation, and the impact of communities can, in fact, form sustainable partnerships to the benefit of all parties involved, and quite a key role that the Vumelana Advisory Fund plays in bringing those parties together, in establishing mechanisms to resolve issues, and more around as well to build trust, because in building trust, then governance also becomes quite key and plays quite a pivotal role. Peter Setou, Chief Executive Officer at the Vumelana Advisory Fund.
The Honest Truth with Benito Vergatini. Smile 90.4 FM.